That's okay. Oh, I watched it. I watched it on Facebook Live. Darlene.
Yeah, why don't you,
Vanessa Carter from the foundation.
So, yeah. So being part of your report or something? Yeah, you are.
Sorry, so he's.
What is that? Another.
I saw it. I saw a story. Chamber thing. I didn't see it. I was like, can you please like start from the top? Yeah. That's right.
I don't think Chris is on the screen.
Oh, we saw it.
Yeah.
Thank God, right.
But I took the. You're right. I'll watch it. I'm gonna handle it. So, okay.
I did.
I know. You just got She's upstairs.
Oh, you an actor?
All right, this meeting will come to order. Thank you, everyone. All right, so let's start with well, first, welcome everyone. Good to see you all. Glad we made it through the new year, got through the new year here. Great. Wanted to go ahead and adopt the agenda. So are there any corrections or additions to the agenda as printed? All right, hearing none, the agenda is adopted. So again, just welcome everyone. So glad to see you all here in my home branch, Odenton branch. And I want to welcome,
Happy to.
I want to welcome Tim Glenfleet, who's going to introduce you to the Odenton branch. And then just really quickly, I just wanted to, Darren Burns, just wanted to just introduce him as the person who will be looking at in terms of our council for the Board of Trustees moving forward. So Tim, if you'd like to take the floor now.
Well, welcome to the Odenton Library, everyone. My name is Tim Van Fleet. I'm the manager here. I've been with AACPL for 20 years now, and I've been the manager here at this branch for going on 5 years. So our branch is a little over 39,000 square feet. We opened in 2024, December, so we just hit our 21-year mark. Last April, we were closed for a big project where we received new flooring and shelving. And we also received a 2-person privacy pod, which has been very popular, and I know a lot of our other branches are getting those now as well. We have 25 career staff here currently with 1 circulation supervisor vacancy that we're interviewing for next week, and then we'll be fully staffed. So one of the big pieces of news we have is that the Rec and Parks Department is going to be building a park across the parking lot from us. And that's going to include a 1-mile walking path that everybody here is really looking forward to. In addition to the walking path, the library is going to partner with them to provide a literary trail. They'll provide the hardware and then we'll put the stories and have like a story walk. Something else about our branch is we have a memory lab that's very popular. Every day somebody's using it to digitize their old photos or VHS tapes. Something else new is our Health to Go vending machine, which is in partnership with the health department to distribute things like COVID tests, face masks, drug test kits, hygiene kits, all sorts of things. So that's also been very popular. The only other piece of news I have about our area is the District 4 budget town hall is tonight at Arundel High School. After your meeting, please walk around and look at all the new carpet and shelving. And if you have any questions or if there's ever anything I can help with, please reach out. Thank you. Yes, you can. You're welcome.
anyone have any questions for Tim? All right, thank you so much.
Please stand.
All right, and just by way of introduction here, as I mentioned, we've got Darren Burns here, who we'll be considering later in our closed session, but wanted to at least make sure that he can put faces to names. So if you don't mind, all the trustees, including those who are online, if we can all introduce ourselves to Darren and just say maybe just a word or two about ourselves. So would you like to start, Barbie, on your end?
I'm sorry.
Just introduce.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, just
Hi, I'm Barbie
there.
Palter, I'm one of the trustees.
I'm Abby Chan, I'm the student trustee.
I'm Jan Smith, old trustee.
Hi, I'm Lonnie Summers, I'm vice chair.
Davida McDonald, chair of the board of trustees. Thank you for coming.
Skip Hall, it's great to meet you today. Welcome.
I'm Laura Ellis, I'm the secretary and board of trustee, any public school library.
Jimmy Step, you're 7 on the board. Pleasure.
Simona Simmons, retired librarian from UMBC.
Tim?
Hi, I'm Tim Lemke, Chair of the Finance Committee and Treasurer.
Chris?
Chris Nelson, trustee.
Noah? Are you able to chime in?
I think can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, okay, great. I'm Noah Comet, trustee, and I'm sorry, I'm in a car right now, so I'm not really fit for video or much talking. I look forward to meeting you.
You too, Noah. And I've been in the car doing meetings a lot of times. I understand.
And I'm Kathy Belcher, just came from a funeral.
Oh my goodness, sorry to hear that. And Ashani?
Hi, I'm Ashani Gandhi. I'm part of the Board of Trustees as well. Still stuck at work, so can't be there in person.
Thank you, everyone. And I guess I'll just take it from here and say I'm Darren Burns, and I appreciate the invitation to be considered as your next general counsel. For anybody who doesn't know, should know at least that I'm born and bred in Arundel. I'm very much embedded in the community all my life. And one of the ways I'm proud to be embedded is that I've been an attorney for Anne Arundel County Public Schools in one fashion or another since 1994. When Carol Parham and I met at a Rotary breakfast, and she was trying to piece together the mess that had come out of only a few of you would probably seasoned enough to remember the Ron Price scandal. It was a tough time for the school system. And I was a young attorney, and I think she was looking for a new voice and a new face and a new perspective on a terrible time. And 30-some years later, I'm still doing that kind of work, and I'm general counsel for Anne Arundel's board as well as 3 other boards in the state of Maryland. And I look forward to, if it's your will, to see how I can help you in your mission. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much. And my apologies for not also asking the ELT, our executive leadership team, to introduce themselves as well.
You start.
I'm happy to start. Kathleen Sparrow, the executive director of the Libraries Foundation.
I'm Cedric Grant, I'm the chief financial officer.
I'm Christine Feldman, I'm the director of marketing and communications, and hopefully we will not have to speak. I will not be sharing things that our customers share.
For the half good ideas on marketing, you'll take them. Just check.
And I potentially will be speaking with you quite often. I'm Colvin Roundtree, I'm chief human resources officer.
And Rudy Rodella, library's chief technology officer, aka Chief Geek.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Carol Kaysen. I'm the regional manager for the Western area, so Wilmington is one of the branches in the region.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right. So just moving on the agenda, so we're up to the approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes from last meeting? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as they are written. So I'm assuming we have no one here for public comment
I don't see anyone for
today.
public comment, nobody has signed up.
All right, sounds good. All right, next on the agenda is our consent agenda. So we have the motion to approve the operating and supplemental budget requests for fiscal 2027. Does anyone have, would anyone like to remove this item from the consent agenda? Barbie, you have a,
Yeah, I would like to discuss something on the supplemental request.
okay, that's great. All right, so I move that, we'll move it to the consideration items. Just move on to the, okay. So again, just following on the agenda here, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the reports of the officers, liaisons, and executive leadership. So I'll go ahead and start with my chair's report. I'm so glad to be here with you all in person. Today has been one of those kind of crazy days. Motherhood has been definitely an experience for me. We've had a sick child at home for about 3 days, and so it literally was a bit touch and go. So I'm just really, really grateful for the opportunity to be here. My husband is dealing with our sick child at home, but all is well. So one of the things I definitely wanted to mention in the chair's report, having seen Kathleen's update about our giving for the year, this past year, 100% giving from the Board of Trustees. I love that. That is very exciting. That's what we all, hope for and aim for, and so the fact that we were able to achieve that this year, I feel very good about where we are as trustees. We demonstrate leadership in our support of the library, and I thank every one of you for your contributions to the library this past year, both financially, in terms of your time, serving on the board, in terms of your participation in events. We appreciate it all. Also wanted to just make sure you saw on the agenda, we do have a number of events that are coming up. Did just want to draw your attention to the kickoff to the Love Your Library Month, which will be a social for both the trustees and for the foundation board. So if you are able to join that event on Saturday, January 31st at noon, from noon to 1 will be the social hour, and so if you're able to participate, we definitely encourage that. I wanted to at least give you a preview that we will have another social for the trustees and the foundation board after our next full board meeting in March. March 19th is the date. We'll be immediately following our regular board meeting, which will be at the Bush and Atkins Library. So we will provide some additional details. Lonnie and I will provide additional details once we have those finalized, but I wanted to give a very early heads up for that additional social. Then thank you to all who were able to participate in last month's social. It's really fun. Aside from that, absolutely. So in Dylan's absence, I'm actually going to just open the floor for anyone who has any updates on the Adopt a Library program. So any involvement or engagement that you've had recently with your assigned branch, or really any branch, but if you have any updates on anything, any engagement or activity that you've had, this is the time to share.
I had a very long update that I sent to Dylan, so I won't be able to encompass it. But in the last quarter of 2025, I visited the Suburban Park Library 2 or 3 times, just chatting with staff, getting to know them, hearing some of their concerns. And one of the times I was actually just doing some schoolwork, and so I didn't really say hi, I'm here to anybody, but I just kind of observed. And it was really nice to see just the natural interaction between the staff and the branch manager, checking in with people, do you need anything, and just seeing like how things run. And it was busy up until closing. Like it was 10 till closing time, and people were still checking out books and on the computers and stuff like that. So that was really nice to see. I also visited the Crofton Library, and for the Suburban Park Library as well, I provided some propagations for their plant club, which was really nice. I wasn't able to attend the club meetings, but I interacted with the staff that facilitated and talked about that. The Crofton Library has a really cool propagation station that I hadn't seen. They showed me that. That was fun. So yeah, I've been trying to check in with different branches and see what's going on. In October, I did one of the banned book crafts at the Mountain Road Library. That was really, really fun, and there was a really warm invite for the staff there as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. That's amazing. Oh,
I just did, not as much. I'm still working on it. Maybe I reached out to Michelle Noble just before Christmas, and I got the staff listserv and sent have a wonderful holiday message. I hope to make a visit in the next month or so.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Abby?
So it was the end of semester 2 for school, and it was a busy week. So I think over the last...
I'm sorry, Abby, can we ask you just to speak up just a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Just because you're recording.
Over the last month or so, I think I went to the Crofton Library about 12 times.
Oh, wow.
Just studying. And I also planned with the Crofton Library for how we can finish up with the Lunar New Year Festival that we're creating. That will be around February 21st, I believe. And I've also been working on the library for my Science Honor Society initiative. So we are creating a demonstration for elementary school kids to show the spread of germs using like UV lights and glow germ. And I'm planning on talking to Tim after this meeting.
That's exciting. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I brought some treats to the Discoveries branch for their staff meeting. Hopefully they enjoyed them. And I'm there all the time, just getting bucks and shamefully bringing things in that are overdue. But the staff never shames me, which I'm pleased to report. They're always so gracious, even though it's like woefully overdue. Don't be like me.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I sent treats to Broadneck for the staff for December, January, so.
Love that.
I wander in with donuts,
Oh, yes. Everything counts.
which I can't eat anymore.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I mean, I think it's really good for us all to get out to our library branches that are assigned, but certainly as much as we can to just get out to all of them and just support our staff. It's amazing. All right, so let's move on to our first report from Officer Tim for the Treasurer's Report.
Thank you. Sorry, I can't be there in person today, everybody. Cedric and his team have been very hard at work in getting our budget request ready to submit to the county. Proposed operating and supplemental budget requests for fiscal year 27 are up for consideration today. If passed, we will be submitting the budget package to the county on the 21st. And from there, we'll work with the budget analyst and auditor to ensure details are accurate. And that ongoing work and analysis will be ongoing all the way through June. And as you know, the budget hearings to the county are ongoing. We appreciate those who have already testified, and we thank those who are scheduled to testify as we look to get the county to approve all of or as many of our requests as possible. On March 16th, the county executive will be meeting with the county executive, or our staff will be meeting with the county executive and his staff to go over our budget submission, and then we'll hopefully receive passage later in the year. So I look forward to having a further discussion about the budget and supplemental requests when we vote on it later today. That is my treasurer's report.
Thank you. Any questions for Tim? All right, let's move on to, actually, I think, Tim, you're going to do this. Are you doing this report, or are you going to do the liaison to the Foundation Board report? I'm happy, since Noah is a little tied up, I'm happy to do the Foundation Board update. Demita had mentioned the very important news that we had 100% participation in trustees giving last year, which is a very big thing. Generosity has made a big impact, and Kathleen would like to convey that we'd like to continue that momentum into 2026. There are some upcoming fundraising events and advocacy efforts that we can look to, including I Love My Library Month, which is February. So we'll be having a partnership with Always Ice Cream and Firm Brewery on an event on January 31st at Firm Brewery in Crofton. And Library Giving Week is upcoming April 1st through 8th. We had a number of successful events in the back half of 2025 that are worth noting, including an evening with
David Baldacci. That was in November. The Hammond Theater, sold out crowd of 550 attendees. And Giving in Style, an evening to support Anne Arundel County Public Library at Rabun, was a wonderful way to celebrate Giving Tuesday. Right before Christmas, we had 50 guests, raising more than $3,000 for our programs and services. So very good report. The other key thing of note, at our last board meeting, the foundation board meeting, we began discussion of considering a bylaw change to include a student board member, and that will be up for consideration at our meeting on January 20th. I don't think I was speaking out of turn in conveying that the addition of the student board member to our board of trustees has been a great success, and so I recommended approval of that. So we'll see if that is something the foundation board will do as well. If so, the two positions will likely be, we'll combine recruitment efforts, and so, students throughout the county will have two opportunities to consider. So that is my report from the foundation. We thank everybody for their support.
Thank you so much, Tim. Does anyone have any questions? All right, moving on to the CEO and ELT reports.
Okay, so my team has submitted written reports for everybody. So if you have questions, then it would be in reference to those reports. I do want to encourage everybody to go to Board Effect, at least the week of the meeting, and probably the week before. But once we get this in there, Donna gives me a list every time of who has logged into Board Effect and who has not. And I'm not going to call anybody out, but I'm going to say that at least one person here has not gone in, and maybe two, maybe anyway. But do log into Board Effect, because that's how you're going to know what everybody is reporting on, and it's just so important to do that. I have two or three other items to mention. One, the Luna Blue. Kathleen let me know that the charity wine dinner at Luna Blue is sold out. That's awesome. We're in the middle of budget town halls. We'll talk more about the budget in a moment, but there's one at Arundel High School coming up right after this meeting at 6 p.m. today, and I'm attending all of it but not speaking, but Christine has arranged for many of you to speak at the town halls. That's tremendous. We have branch managers and regional managers speaking at the town halls, and also people from the foundation board are speaking. And that's in addition to sort of general public speaking, because we're sending out emails about that as well. So we're promoting a supplemental budget request that you'll haven't quite approved yet, but we're hopeful. So let's see. Tim was talking about the student member being introduced at the foundation board. I think most of you may be aware that your fellow trustee, Delegate Dylan Baylor, has introduced a bill to add a student trustee at all of the library systems across the state of Maryland. That probably will pass, but there's a lot of discussion about amending the original bill so that it probably will not be mandatory that everybody has to have one. That gives each locality an opportunity to decide how they want to proceed with that. Right now, okay, so anyway, so that's all moving forward, and I think by the next meeting in March, we'll know whether that bill has been passed, and I can give you more details on that at the time. That's my report, unless anyone has questions about our executive team reports. Yes.
I have questions for the IT and cybersecurity. So Rudy, our chief geek, and put you on the spot. And they're really just follow up in regards to your report from our last full meeting. So in that report, you said that you were pending the status of a pen testing by that Janice, I believe, that began the week of the October 20th. Did you get a final report? Did that complete? Because you didn't have anything in this report, so that's why I was just kind of closing that loop.
Yes, so the penetration test that was done by a contractor was just completed earlier this week.
Okay,
They provided us the final report. We are going through it with a fine-tooth comb, and we plan on briefing the executive leadership team on the 26th of January at our next meeting. From that, we will have a remediation plan set up to cover the critical vulnerabilities that the pen test discovered. Overall, though, just for just a big picture, 20,000 foot view, pen test was very favorable. We're in a good position. We have some things we need to take care of, just like every other network does. We're in a good place.
and in regards to that, was that in tandem, was there a compliance audit with that in tandem, or was it really just red team?
Compliance audit.
Like a, benchmark security framework that was
Yes.
done in tandem? Okay,
No, I understand the question.
okay.
The answer is no.
Okay.
This is an independent, we had an opportunity to rise from a FEMA grant. That was
Gotcha.
pre-Trump administration, pre-current administration. So we got it under the wire, we got that grant, and that's what funded the penetration test. It was a follow-up from a test we'd done in 2019 after the cybersecurity incident that we had back then. So we took those two pen tests to bookend what we did in between. It's a good delta. We're in a much better spot than we were back then. And like I said, once we finish our review of it, we'll brief it with the CEO and then we'll brief the board as well.
And then final question, is there any policy currently for a standardized period of compliance testing, pen testing at any given point?
We have not developed that yet.
Okay.
The cybersecurity position is a relatively new position.
Sure.
The first steps are going to have been to get us up to the SOC compliance. Right after we get at a comfortable position with that compliance scheme framework, then we're going to come up with a periodic testing scheme because we do see that there's some value in that. There's a lot of value in that, so we'll come back to that.
I agree. Great, thank you.
Some great questions, Barbie. Can you talk a little bit about
Oh, sure. As you know, we are working with the Martin Luther King Jr. Committee, who came to the county executive, and then they came to us to install a monument to Malcolm X at the Michael Bush Annapolis Library. And it's moving forward very solidly. We originally had a date of June the 6th for that grand unveiling. It'll be in place probably in May. The event that's happening tomorrow night by the committee up at La Fontainebleau is it's an annual event. All of the proceeds of that event, they expect maybe 1,000 people, will go toward the funding of this project. When the county executive let me know that, or his staff let me know that he's not available on June the 6th, we have talked with Dr. Ilyasa Shabazz, who is Malcolm's daughter, to find whether she would be available earlier that week. So it does look like the county she's going to be available sometime between the 1st and the 5th when the county executive can do this. So just be alert to that date. It'll probably be done. It'll be a weekday, probably around 11 a.m. So that may work for some of you. It may not work for some of you also. Cedric, what am I leaving out? I feel like I'm leaving out some updates on this. I mean, we've been working closely with Dr. Shabazz. Cedric was able to talk with her about some revisions to the biography that I think Cedric sent some initial information over, and they've been back and forth. So we've now come up with a slightly revised biography that would be part of the monument. It has numerous photos and quotes. It's going to be, really tremendous kind of a project. I feel like I'm leaving something out, but anyway, if I am, I'll tell you in 2 months, or I'll tell you by email. Yeah, okay, Cedric's telling me we've got it covered. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions before we move on? All right. And moving on to our reports from our committees, Finance and Audit. Tim, any additional updates from you?
No, just to say that from at our committee meeting last month, we did vote to approve the fiscal year 2027 operating and supplemental budget, which is now up for consideration by the full board. This includes, the key things in the supplemental to note are the pay raises for staff, which were negotiated as part of the collective bargaining agreement. And there are about 20 items in total. Several of those items are staff positions, which I think it's notable to point out that many of these positions we've been asking for many years. And I know there are several positions on there that even predate my being on the board. And so that's something to consider if you are testifying in support of this supplemental to the budget town halls in the coming weeks. So, but I look forward to any further discussion when it comes up for a vote.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Moving on to governance strategy and organization. Jim had to step out. Can someone else do the report in his absence?
He indicated, I think I wrote some notes down, that there was no additional report other than what was contained in the meeting materials.
Okay. All right, then moving on to the HR and Diversity Committee. I know that Faith isn't present with us today.
I'll do the report. Okay, great. Awesome. So the HR and Diversity Committee met on Thursday, December the 18th on Zoom. And at that meeting, we heard from members of the Library Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion team led it. So they presented kind of an overview of the work that the team is doing. We had a really nice conversation. It was a long meeting, a lot of kind of back and forth. They asked a lot of good questions about what the committee works on, and we heard from them about projects and things that they're working on. We talked a lot about collaboration and kind of increasing communication between the two bodies. And so where we left it really was that the HR staff is going to continue to provide. I'm looking at COVID updates on their activities, and we may have members from the LEDIT committee come to present to the full board at some point. That's my report.
Thank you, Lonnie. All right, now moving on to our consideration item, which is the operating and supplemental budget request. Do I need to make a motion to approve before we start to discuss? Is there a motion to approve the operating and supplemental budget request?
I so moved.
All right, a second.
I'll second.
All right, Tim. All right, discussion. Oh.
I had a question
Sure.
regarding, line item 11 on the supplemental request. That's for the $15,000 for Copilot. So I'm gonna put Rudy in the hot seat again, I apologize. Is this for a separate license for a enterprise Copilot?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an enterprise level license for the ELT to use the upgraded version of Copilot. Staff currently have access to a Copilot version that is a little more generic.
Sure.
The license that we're asking for the ELT is more specific. It gives the Copilot permission to look at our internal files and develop answers based on our own data.
Okay. Do you know about how many licenses that is, numbers wise?
We are looking at 22 licenses.
Okay. That's very expensive per license.
It is, yes. To be very candid to the board, and this opens the door for another conversation that we're probably going to be having in future years. Microsoft is they are a very aggressive negotiator.
I'm familiar.
They've leveraged themselves out of some contracts with MEEC that I chair as well. So this is what MEEC is? Yes, the Maryland Educational Enterprise Consortium. So they're a purchasing group that bargains for Maryland higher ed, K-12, and libraries for software, hardware, professional IT services. So we are looking at other solutions. The challenge is that Microsoft is also very tightly integrated vertically. So separating those services may require third-party solutions that may add up to a total price that's as much as Microsoft. So we're working on that balancing act right now.
Okay, so the value add is really that integration into the internal documents that'll integrate into the Microsoft applications as well. Just not to go on a soapbox or anything like that. However, my concern is the ethical implications when we talk about generative AI in regards to a library infrastructure on several levels, especially considering a public face and public social media presence from the library that is a little bit antithesis to that when it comes to generative AI, and also the high price point. And $15,000 is, a line item that is a very, very small percentage overall, just for even the supplemental requests. But I just question it. That's all.
We will get the opportunity to make our case with the county executive. As you know, the supplementals are going in right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are the library's requests. Once the county executive pulls all the requests together, that request may not actually make it.
Sure.
We'll see how the county executive feels about that, and their staff as well, because we have to make that case with them as well. It is a smaller line item, but at the same time, every dollar counts, so we don't know if it's going to make it.
Absolutely.
We do, however, the library has, and this board has adopted an AI policy that it's internal facing, it's for staff consideration, staff use. We are pretty clear-eyed about how challenging it can be to use AI. The policy establishes a permission structure so that staff can experiment with AI, use it to their best effect. But at the same time, very clear about making sure that the public and the rest of the staff know that when they are interacting with AI-generated intellectual property, that's the core of that policy. So we say, if you use AI, if it helps your work, fine. You have to edit it, and at the end of the day, you are responsible for that information. So within that structure, we hope that staff can have the comfort with exploring it, make the best use of it. More importantly, being able to interact with other customers and let them know that this is what AI is all about. This is what you should watch out for. This is how best to use it.
Is there any kind of measured ROI on this investment?
Sorry?
Is there any kind of measured ROI on this investment?
Not measured, but I want to provide anecdotal
Sure, yeah.
that a lot of us are using it off and on. I don't use it a whole lot, but I've used it a few times, and I think others on our staff have been encouraged to use it and to experiment with it. I think it is helping us frame documents. I think occasionally, I think probably each person on our executive team plus Carol can talk about ways that staff are using it. At our recent leadership team meeting, which is the group that consists of about 35 of us who are either branch managers or department heads or division heads, Scott Barter, who is the head of IT, did a presentation on it, kind of how to use it, what to look out for and all that. So we're working with it, we're trying not to be afraid of it, trying to get the comfort level with it and understanding the ethics issues related to it. But again, measure, I can't think of anything we're measuring.
Not yet, but anecdotally, again, one item that did come up from Scott's presentation, we are looking at replacing our self-checkout machines in branches.
Oh, yeah.
So we're doing an in-house solution because I walk into a room with the IT staff and I break down the average IQ by 5 points. They're a really sharp team, and they decided that they wanted to do an internal solution. They were having some problems with programming, so they uploaded requirements, they uploaded our style book, and the AI came up with a solution. They plugged in the machine and it worked the first time. So that saves, I think Scott estimated 2 weeks of programming time. So, quick back of the envelope, that's $140,000, something like that, so.
So that would be using, with the business license, the custom made genetics that come with it, utilizing it in an operational capacity outside of just the executive suite.
So this is an experiment.
Okay.
We're gonna look and see what this does, and if it does produce a positive ROI, we'll figure out how to measure that. That'll be a case we'll need to make in future supplemental requests if we do that.
Was that the one that was just installed at Severn?
Yes.
And there was another one too, isn't there someplace else like
Severn, right? Not Severn. Severna Park.
I mean, Severn.
Severna Park, their business model is principally self-checkout. So that's why we're concentrating on that branch first.
And thank you, I appreciate it. And again, to your point, it may not be a large budget item, but with the, loss of federal funding and then the previous conversations that we have had on the increased cost of materials, which obviously is only going to go up, I think that there's no line item that's too small to have for consideration and discussion. So I think everyone's time for discussing it.
Thank you, Bobby. Great questions. Oh.
I actually had an additional question. So you mentioned like the ethics of use of AI, and
Abby, I can't hear you.
Oh, and I was wondering, when you do promote like the use of AI and encourage that, is there certain guidelines on like the misuse of AI? Because there's like AI is beneficial in certain ways, but there's also a lot of harmful aspects, like generative art that has been going around my school community a lot. And there's also like the environmental cost or impact, like a leader per response.
There's a very robust discussion on our internet about those topics. It's still ongoing. I think what we're leaning on, and I'm sorry Kathy's not here today because she would talk to the staff, address AI with in the reference interactions. That's not quite my will. But I will say that what we're trying to do more than anything else, again, is encourage staff to experiment with it in-house. So if they know what it does, they can see where pitfalls may be. And that informs them when they do interact with customers. So we're not actively promoting AI. We just want staff to have those tools available to them so that they know what they're talking about when they do have to interact with customers to that question.
If I can add something, we actually have a class coming up next week in Eastport on learning about AI. We've got 4 scheduled over the next couple of months. That one's already been full for weeks. People want this information, they want to know. And the Wall Street Journal is coming to do a story on AI in the workplace, and they're coming to our event next week.
Amazing.
It's interesting that in Finland they have been teaching media savvy starting with kindergarten for years, and now they're doing lessons on AI so that they understand the ethical problems with it and the fact that it'll make up things to make you happy. Lawyers found that, I think one of the attorneys found that out the hard way. Made up cases that were referred. So those things we need to have we need to start planning ahead to teach that.
That has always been the library's kind of special role in that. We're having exactly the same conversations 25 years ago. I'm sure we had those conversations 650 years ago when we introduced codexes. What do you mean, you can't just scroll to this? I mean, I can't access this index. Yeah. All those intellectual challenges, they are part of how we interact with the world of information and bring that world to a human scale.
It falls under information literacy. Librarians have been doing that, teaching patrons or users how to determine whether something is accurate or useful. So like you say with reference, they've been doing that all along. So it's just one more tool to add.
It's a great discussion.
Nina, do you mind if a member, I'm not just a member of the public, but I can offer something to this conversation?
Please.
And there's a couple attorneys in this room. We're trying, as the profession wrestles with some of these issues, and of course, we have a local news coverage of a difficult situation in Annapolis. we're trying to figure out how to make it easier to make the decision when to deploy or not to deploy AI. Meaning, for everybody on the doer end, not the user consumer end, there are major ethical issues, but more importantly is, you gotta make decisions in the field very quickly. So we're trying to figure out a flow chart. I say we, like those that are senior in my law firm, but across the practice, to help those, the rest in our firms and our practice, get to the decision point early. I'll give you an example. The flow chart is, do we use AI for what will ultimately be deliverable advice to client? If that's your early checkpoint, you may not proceed through it with AI. But before you get to that place, if you're rotely producing interrogatories in a case that you've done similarly 25 times, you, the practitioner, and you know the questions that work and don't work, right? You can take your forms, plug them in, take something that has the undisputed material in it, combine that, and AI can produce for your client in a fifth of the amount of time, right? A deliverable that you honestly can't charge 5 times for. Now you're producing value, but it all starts with the question, what's the end product for, right? And we're trying to wrestle with that because we just want, when someone new comes out of law school, whoever, fill in blank, whatever profession, it would help them to know right away what the expectation is and not fumble around. And Abby mentioned here, if you're fumbling around figuring out the ethics, then you're going to fumble around with whether AI is useful. And it all flows from there. So I introduced that to you to see that we're all wrestling with this, and that's one way we're approaching it, as a flowchart approach. When to deploy and when to avoid. So, I'll offer that.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to turn the floor over to Skip. You wanted to talk about the first item on the supplemental budget request.
So one of the things that we've been concerned about on our executive team in our budget is that very first item, which we're strongly supporting, which is the negotiated agreement on cost of living and merit, which we're in the middle now of a two-year contract with our two collective bargaining units. And for this year, we actually got the 3% COLA and the 3% merit, and we have that in the document for next year. There's a couple of things that are going to sort of mitigate against that if the county does not provide that funding. And so I will be sending some of this information, Cedric and I both will be sending some of this information to staff tomorrow, depending on the vote today. But I want to read it to you so you have it kind of at the top of mind. Let's see, so from the Library Workers Empowerment Act, which enabled all of the public library systems to form collective bargaining units, there's a statement on funding. It's like section 23.910 of the education article, which deals with county public library systems. Subject to blah, blah, blah. This is the key part. Wait a minute. The employer shall submit a term of a collective bargaining agreement or memorandum of understanding entered into under this subtitle to the funding body of the applicable county. In other words, we're submitting this next week. And then there's another section that says the funding body may approve or reject a request for additional funding. And then the key part here says, if any part of a request for additional funding submitted to the funding body of the applicable county under this subsection is rejected, the request for additional funds shall be returned to the employer and the certified exclusive representative for renegotiation within the limits of the funding allocated by the funding body of the applicable county. So in other words, if we will be submitting 3% COLA and 3% merit for fiscal 27, but if the county working with Cedric, working with us, and in the end, if the county executive and county council end up funding it at, let's just say, 2% COLA, 2.5% merit, or anything like that, anything less than the 3 and 3, that's pretty much it, because that's all the funding that has been provided. Also, in the actual collective bargaining agreement, both the supervisory and the general one, we have stated let's see, it is understood that the library will submit the financial terms of this collective bargaining agreement to the county executive, who will, at their discretion, include such terms in their budget submission to the county council. In accordance with that code that I just cited, the county council may approve or reject the request for funds necessary to effectuate this agreement in whole or in part. Now, that doesn't mean that the county executive has to submit 3 and 3. The county executive can submit 2.5 and 2. And we're going to get this information out to our staff tomorrow in a little more easy to understand terms with these source documents listed that I read to you. But basically, we want our staff at large to understand. We also, in that message, we're going to be encouraging them to attend one of the budget town halls and try to wear the shirts. I'll probably be in my Literacy and Justice for All t-shirt, along with a lot of our staff. And hopefully we can make the impression on the county executive and the council that this is something that we're pushing for. But we just want to make sure there's not misunderstanding and anger that develops out of it. So that's what I wanted to say.
Great, thanks, Skip. Any questions?
So Skip, I guess, and Cedric and I have talked about this. I mean, as we've gone through the, collective bargaining process, it's not like the county was out of the loop in terms of what we were negotiating. And I think they one would think they would have come back to us and told us if we had negotiated something that was completely off the wall. But I am wondering if is there any concern that maybe conditions have changed in the months since this agreement was struck that would cause the county to, or any council members to think this was no longer appropriate for them to sign off on, or because there is some risk when you strike an agreement and then you're waiting months for it to actually be approved, like things change. So,
well, I think every year the county waits for the January Consumer Price Index to come out, and we just saw that it was like maybe 2.7 or 2.9%. I forget what it was for the year. Even though we were working with the county budget office, frankly, I believe in our negotiations we were more attuned to what the county was telling us. We were looking at promoting this as a 2.5. Coben, do you recall or Rudy, you were in those negotiations. Was it 2.5 plus 2.5 that we were originally trying to push with the bargaining agreement?
From the union's perspective, it was higher than that.
But I mean, from what we were saying, we were trying to hold it to it. Yeah.
Based on what you heard from the county.
Yeah, based on what we heard from the county. In the end, that was another year off, and I think we said, okay, we'll just put it in there at 3 and 3, and knowing that the county was going to tell us what they were going to fund. And so it's in there at 3 and 3. We'll know May 1st what the county executive is proposing. We also knew at the time that the county has something like 10 union bargaining units that they work with, and pretty much all of those agreements are at 2 or 2.5%. So we're not, I mean, from my point of view, I don't know that we're going to see a higher, I don't think we're going to see the 3 and 3. That's why we want to be able to get the word out to staff so there's not this huge disappointment if that is what really happens. I don't know if that answers your question, Tim.
It does. I just wonder, is it sort of back to the drawing board in terms of negotiation, or do they just have to accept the fact that it is what it is? I mean, and how long would that play out before?
I mean, it says that we go back to renegotiation. I think what it means is that we go back and amend that contract to whatever the county provided. I think that's how that would work.
It would be negotiations, but based on what the law is, it's what the county provides.
Yeah. The other piece of this is that right now, Howard County, which has the same union and is under the same state law, is in arbitration over the fact that they could not provide, the county did not provide them enough funding. So I'll be shocked if the arbitrator finds in favor of the union in that case. But that is happening, and I don't know that that necessarily sets precedent for us, because the way that Howard County provides their funding is a little different from us. We have had a long-standing system with the county for going back decades, that we can move money around within a line item, but we cannot move it from one line item to another. That went back to episodes probably 25 years ago where a library CEO did move money, and essentially it was just a big complicated story, but basically the county ever since then, and maybe even before, they said you just have to keep it within the line item. So we're not in a position to be able to take money from somewhere else.
But that's what Howard County wants, their union wants them to do.
Howard County is trying to get them to take money from wherever they can find it. And whether that means, whatever that might mean, it might mean eliminating positions, it might mean freezing hiring, it could mean all kinds of things if we ever do that. I'm sorry?
Less materials.
It could be taking money from the materials budget. It could, yeah. So we don't want to be in that kind of a bind.
Thanks for that. Any other questions or items for discussion before we move to a vote? Go ahead and do the vote. All those in favor of approving the operating and supplemental budget request, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'm sorry. We have one opposed? Okay. Any abstentions? All right, so the ayes have it. All right, just before we go, obviously in the agenda, we're going to be moving into closed session, but before we do that, just wanted to open the floor to Darren, not to put you on the spot, but if you have any questions for us, this is your first meeting with us.
Yeah, I don't have questions. I certainly enjoyed reading everyone's profiles and reading. I really enjoyed, as someone has to work with Robert's Rules on a regular basis, because in Maryland, there's actually a provision for school systems that their boards have to follow parliamentary procedure. It's actually embedded in COMAR. It doesn't say Robert's Rules, but in practice, that's pretty much what everybody does. It was a refreshing thing to see that you all, in sort of self-policing, have your own much simpler, better, friendlier version of Robert's Rules, and it's nice to see that. I would just simply offer up to you all, it's interesting to listen to the issues you're dealing with. I work in negotiations with some of the counties you were just talking about the process and about how funding works. And of course, a lot of counties have an out clause that says basically whatever is negotiated, it's subject to funding. And if the funding falls short, the next thing that happens is the parties are obligated to come back together and negotiate with what is funded, right? And you would hope there's good faith in that and not running out to these other mechanisms, in my opinion, looking for ways around it. Because there's only one pool of money in the end for every county agency and quasi-county agency, right? In the school systems. So hopefully, in those issues, if you all choose to have me work with you, I can bring some of that experience to the table. And we talked about AI, but there's also a lot of contract issues and procurement issues that, to the extent I can help with those, great. And again, if the opportunity presents itself, I really look forward to doing this. This actually matters to the community, and I'd love to be part of it. So, with that, I think I'll excuse myself. Right? If you're finished, I'll leave. All right. Have a great meeting.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, nice meeting everybody. See you a little later.
I'll let you know, I'll get you a signed contract, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, that's what happens. I'll see you.
Good to see you, thank you. All right, I'd like to call for a motion to convene in closed session. The meeting will be closed under General Provision Article 3-305B, Section 1, for the purposes of looking at the new General Counsel Agreement, as well as the CEO FY26 Performance Evaluation and Oh. All right. In a second? All right. All right, we're going to convene into closed session. Oh, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, put it to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
So I'm gonna hang around for the very first part